The MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board meeting for July 27, 2017. Carol, I believe we have a quorum. Do you agree? We have a quorum. We therefore will go to item 2, the review of the minutes. You have been furnished with copies of the minutes of the June 22nd meeting. Are there corrections or additions? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes as presented. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. Item 3 is the budget and obligation report. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You do not have the usual budget report that we're used to seeing, and it's because of timing for the close of the fiscal year. But we will receive that next month, and then that month's also. So there'll be 2 next month. What we do have is the budget and obligations report. And I can answer any questions you might have on this. As you know, we have a considerable amount of construction underway, which accounts for a lot of these expenses. So we will, as I said, have the budget report back to you next month.
Are there questions for David? It's been moved that we accept the report as presented. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed, no. The report is received. Item 4, David.
Item 4 is recommend resolution approving change order number 5 and amendment number 7, MAPS 3 Trail Improvements, Phase 2, Project 1, I-44 West, Will Rogers Trail, increase of $50,167.20, Project M3-T002A. This is what we expect to find, as you've seen before, in construction projects like this, and that is some various things that are found in the field that needed to be dealt with. And there's, in item 1, some concrete flumes that needed to be built around a driveway to handle the drainage, and a slope wall because of a driveway, then some concrete trail around the flumes that was built over the flumes. There's some pipe repair in item 4. Probably the most significant, I think, is the pavement modification. When we got out in the field, there were some concerns by the veterinarian at the Lakeview Pet Hospital, and we worked with him to revise some of the paving so that his patients could get in and out better. And then there's a no-cost time extension on here. Then also, as part of the amendment, there's quantity revisions, and as you know, I like to keep up to date on our quantities that we do every month. So this is just our housekeeping on quantities. This there was not a quorum with the Trails and Sidewalks this month, but it did come with the approval from those in attendance.
All right. Are there questions regarding this?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution before you. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 5, David.
Item 5 is recommend resolution approving change order number 5 and amendment number 6, MAPS 3 Trail Improvements, Phase 2, Project 2, I-44 West, Will Rogers Trail, increase of $32,422, Project M3-T002. Continuing on with what I just talked about, the things that we find, we worked with some of the adjacent property owners along this trail. So there's item 1 is a privacy fence. Then there's some fence post removals. There were some unordinary or fence posts in that area. Then there's an additional fence and a gate. Then there's a time extension of 10 days at no cost. And again, quantity revisions of $16,486. And again, this comes with the approval of those present at the subcommittee.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution approving the change order number 5. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 6, David.
Item 6 is recommend resolution approving change order number 1 and amendment number 1, MAPS 3 Will Rogers Trail, Phase 2, Project 3, increase of $81,127.75, Project M3-T002B. There were some irrigation lines that needed to be relocated, but the main part of this in the amendment is what we call a mow strip. Most of the existing fence out there at the fairgrounds has a concrete strip underneath the fence. And it's so the weeds don't grow up into the fence, and it's much easier for maintenance. We did not see this when the plans were developed and conversations with the fairgrounds. They wanted to keep it not only consistent, but also it helps with how the fairgrounds looks and how the adjacent to the trail will look. This allows the mowers to get right up to the fence and take care of all the grass, and they don't have to bring string trimmer out or anything, and it doesn't grow up in the fence. So again, this comes with the approval of those present in that subcommittee.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution approving the change order. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 7, David.
Item 7 is recommend resolution approving amendment number 2, MAPS 3, Phase 3, Project 1, sidewalk improvements, increase of $4,500, Project M3-W003. Continuing on with our upkeep on quantities, we have quantity adjustment of $4,500. There was just some items that were adjusted as construction continued out there. And again, approval from those present in the subcommittee meeting.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution, or this resolution approving the amendment. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 8, David.
Recommend resolution approving amendment number 6, MAPS 3, Phase 3, Project 2, sidewalk improvements, increase of $7,125.95, Project M3-W003A. Again, amendment of quantities for this month to stay current with our quantities of $7,125.95.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 9.
Item 9 is recommend approval of draft final plans and specifications, MAPS 3 sidewalks, Phase 4, Project 2 improvements, Project M3-W004A. This is the last package of official sidewalks that we are doing. This is part of the additional money that was allocated towards sidewalks. And today we have Darren Scott with us from Guernsey to give you a quick presentation on what's included in this package.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
Just to give you, like I said, a quick update of what we've been doing and what the final project will look like on Phase 4. So as far as Phase 4, about 6.5 miles of sidewalk, so about half of what the overall Phase 4 is. 7 alignments ranging from a little over a half mile to a little over a mile. Anticipated construction cost is a little over $2 million. In that is 2 alternates that are about $435,000. The Project 1 construction bids came in good, about $1.7 million, so about half of the budget. So the overall anticipated construction cost right now is about $3.7 million. Again, that's a little over the estimated budget, but we feel we may get that in a little lower with the bids, and then there's 2 alternates. So as far as the schedule, we're underway and made quite a bit of progress on the right-of-way acquisition, so we're in good shape there. 30-60 days on the bid process and construction upon council approval. The map here shows basically all the alignments that were included in Phase 4. The Project 2 are essentially the northern half. The faded out alignments down at the bottom are what's currently being built in Project 1. So it's the remaining 7. Just quickly go through each one, kind of highlight the key points. Penn, it's on the east side from essentially Southwest 15th down to Southwest 36th with a little bit of gap in between. Primarily a residential area, residential streets coming out to Penn. There's quite a bit of driveway work and a little bit of avoidance of trees and fences that are out in the right-of-way, but not too bad on the right-of-way acquisition. Meridian, probably the most complicated of all of the alignments in the project. A little over half mile. It's in pretty much a commercial industrial area. there's not much right-of-way at all, so there's 16 right-of-way acquisitions. And this one is one that's included in the alternate because of that. Memorial, fairly straightforward, 1 mile stretch from Portland to May. A lot of sidewalk already there, wide open, pretty easy to construct. Lincoln, a little over a mile going from I-44 south down to 38th. What we recommended on this one is at 50th to cut across. We had talked about this before, but cut across to the west side and go up because of there's not really any development on the east side. Plus, there's a lot of slope there that require a retaining wall. So at 50th, we jump across to the west side and continue up to capture more of the people there. And 50th, right near where the Will Rogers Trail is going from Portland across Hefner Parkway to May. There's quite a bit of driveway work on this one. It costs a little more because of that. The cross slope's pretty extreme, so we're having to rebuild quite a bit of parking lots. And then we also coordinated with the trail to work with it. And then the last one is Reno, Portland to May, down by the fairgrounds. Pretty simple stretch, quite a bit of city-owned property there to work with, and one temporary easement. There's one more. I forgot about the last alternate. Council Road, Wilshire to Britain, primarily a residential area, big subdivision with one entry coming out, so a pretty straightforward alignment. It just, as far as why it's an alternate, it just fit in on the dollar amount, and it was one of the lower ranked alignments. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there questions? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the draft final plans. Big day for us. This is good. Great job. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Thank you for your good work.
Yes, sir. These numbered alignments were the rankings that we did.
It's still off of the list that we did, yes, sir.
So we're going up to 68 or 73. So with MAPS money, city money, and everything, so that means all the alignments up to number 73 will be addressed.
It could actually go beyond that because Public Works is doing some that are further in.
There's no gaps. I mean, they're pretty much everything, the first 70 or so.
I don't believe there are any gaps for ours, what we're doing, but Public Works is doing some beyond those numbers.
Okay, further questions for David about that? All right, let's go to item 10 then.
Item 10 is recommend resolution approving change order number 14, MAPS 3, Senior Health and Wellness Center number 1, a decrease of $6,112, project M3-H002.
David, did you say decrease?
I did.
All right, let's hear about it.
This is our effort to close out that project. We're still working on punch list items and some things that are out there that need to be addressed, and one of those is the shower seat. In several of the showers, we needed a stronger seat, so there was a change on that. And then there was a credit for this HDMI cabling for 10 TV monitors. They found another way to do that. We didn't have to spend that money. Then there's some walk-off mats in the shower area that we need to put in there to reduce chances of slipping. So as I said, this is a decrease of $6,112, and it comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is adopted. David, just one question about that. I mean, the early reports we've had are that this has been used far beyond the projections. Is that continuing to be the case?
Yes, sir. As of now, we just got a report they have 3,000 members.
Wow. 3,000 members. That's really, so you're keeping track of it.
Yeah, and they're doing everything from belly dancing to ukulele lessons there.
So you're doing the ukulele dance? No, I'm sorry. Well, I knew that Bob was eligible for the Senior Wellness Center. I didn't think Sue was, but here we are. Okay. Well, great news. Thank you, guys. Item 11.
Item 11 is recommend resolution approving change order number 6, MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 2, increase of $13,093, project M3-H003. In the change order, there's an item for ceiling modification. The depth of the ceiling didn't accommodate some recessed lights, so we had to adjust that. There's a water line revision to add some more, the boring, where they don't trench it, but they bore it underground because of some conflicting utilities. Needed to add 20 more feet to that. And then there's a no-cost weather delay on this, and this comes also with the approval from the subcommittee.
Are there questions or discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 12.
Item 12 is recommend joint resolution approving change order number 1, MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 2 West Parking Lot, increase of $2,745, project M3-H003B. This is the additional parking lot that we're doing there at Capitol Hill High School. It's separated from the Senior Wellness Center. It's west, about 300 feet to the west of that. It is complete. They've done a spectacular job. The work is great. There were some items out there that we needed to address. Specifically, item number 1 is the crosswalk and pedestrian connections. There was some existing paving that was in such bad shape that it didn't meet ADA requirements as far as bumps and slopes and things like that. And then also it was decided to add some wheel stops in the ADA parking spaces, so somebody, it would prevent them from accidentally moving forward and hitting the posts. So this comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
Shall we approve it? Is there a second? Been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item number 13, David.
Item 13 is recommend resolution approving change order number 5, MAPS 3 Streetcar Storage and Maintenance Facility, increase of $21,912, project M3-S006. The maintenance facility is coming along well. It's more than halfway complete. We had some roof drains, some canopy bracing, some window lintels, alarm system modification that needed to be addressed, some storage room wall framing that needed to be addressed. There's a credit for some gypboard, some high-impact gypboard that we decided not to put in there. And then there were some additional metal studs and plywood in that area. So we consider these as routine-type construction items, and this comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
Is there further discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 14, David.
Item 14 is recommend resolution approving change order number 2 and amendment number 1, MAPS 3 Modern Streetcar Mainline, increase of $204,523, project M3-S007. I'm sure you all have seen all the construction that's going along with the streetcar. Considerable amount of track has been completed in the Bricktown area. In fact, within 2 or 3 weeks, we should be finished with the track and the ground. They'll still have to do the OCS poles, but they will be out of Bricktown. They've come across Reno there at the Chesapeake, made the turn onto Robinson. So they've got a substantial amount of work done, and this is only change order number 2 and amendment number 1. There are several items in here, the biggest one being the additional power, item number 1 of $134,000. This was an item that was value engineered out of the project to begin with because of budget issues, and as you recall, we came in under budget. This is something that helps with redundancy as far as the power supply for the system. It's something that we think is necessary, and that since we have the budget. Then we've got some manholes, some track drain piping, just miscellaneous things that they found as they go along with the construction. There was a communications manhole revision, $15,000. whole foundation adjustments, what happens with some of those is they go in with the Vector truck and water jet the hole to begin that, to make sure that there's nothing in there, and sure enough, they find a conduit of some sort, and they have to move it over, so that's just that cost of doing that exploration. Then there was a signal case revision, changing from aluminum to stainless steel. And then on the amendment side, there's some quantity adjustments, just like you've seen on the trails and sidewalks. I think notably you'll see a credit of $28,000 on manhole adjustments, and then some additional track electric boxes of $31,000. So it goes both ways. There are quantities that get reduced and quantities that get increased. So if there's any other questions, I'll try to answer those, but this comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
Are there questions or discussion items?
I move that we approve the resolution.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's approved. Item 15, David.
Item 15 is recommended resolution approving amendment number 2 to contract with Cleveland Track Material Incorporated, MAPS 3 Transit Modern Streetcar Mainline Special Track Work, increase of $194,200, project M3-S007B. This is the special track work, and if you recall, with the money that we had left over because the bids came in lower than expected, we decided to go ahead and put in the turnouts, or the Ys, the little curves, at 5th Street in anticipation that if we have the money towards the end of construction, we can build that turnaround on 5th Street. So this just gets us partially in through the intersections so that we don't have to dig that up or disrupt the mainline operations once it's working, and we can build that track at a later point if we choose to. So this is an amendment with that contract to purchase those 2 additional turnouts. This comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
Questions or discussion?
I move that we approve the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Well, lots of action going on out in the field, and this is very encouraging to see how well everything is going. Thanks for bringing us all these updates on that. It seems routine, but it represents a tremendous amount of work on the part of staff. And so, David, to you and your staff and all the people that are working on this, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, let's go to item 16, new business.
I'm going to bring this up in new business. If you recall, the Trails and Sidewalks Subcommittee approved, and this body approved, the idea of providing up to almost $1.4 million in matching funds for trails and some other projects related to trails and sidewalks. And that was through the Planning Department. The Planning Department was successful in acquiring 2 of the projects, that being the trail amenities, and then also the connection from the Grand Trail down to the river that goes along next to Dell in that area. There was some changes in the funding. The original funding for the trail was $450,000, and the amenities was $49,400. Those have been adjusted so that the trail now will be $375,000 of matching funds, and the amenities will be $75,000. So when you add those together, it equals $450,000 of matching funds that we will provide, which is less, obviously, than the 1.4 that we had talked about before. But it's also, we get the trail connection and the amenities for what we had expected, just the trail connection. Wow. So I just wanted to point that out. Unless anybody had any issue with that, we're going to go ahead and proceed with that to council.
That's the money that will come out of the MAPS money, and then what matching money do we get for that project?
It's a grant,
Right.
that planning has applied for. It's called TAP. The money that we use will come out of the Trails and Sidewalks budget.
And what's the total budget, I guess, or what's the other side of the money?
John is here from planning, and I'll let him address that.
Morning, board members. John Tankard, Planning Department. As David said, We had 2 projects accepted, and for the Grand Boulevard project, that's $600,000 of federal funding. For the trail amenities, that's $172,000. So $772,000 of federal
So we're
funding.
putting in roughly a third of the project, I guess.
David, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 375 is the additional match required to pull off the South Grand project.
Right, that's our match amount.
Yeah, in addition to the 150 and 225 that was approved by the board prior to this. So the match comes out to around $700,000.
Okay, well, that's not how I understood it. I understood that it had been adjusted down, and the total was 375.
Okay. Well, we can work out those numbers. Regardless, the ODOT and ACOG approved these projects, and they were both very excited about both of these projects, and they want us to do as many trail projects as we can.
John, what arm of the federal government do you apply to get this? Under whose budget does this come from the federal
Well,
budget?
that'd be the Department of Transportation, but
Department of Transportation.
it filters down through the state departments of transportation and then the regional government. In our case, that's ACOG.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
So that was just information that what was previously approved, how we're proceeding with that.
All right, any other new business?
No, sir.
Any member have new business? All right, then let's move to item 17. Any subcommittee want to make additional reports other than what we've already considered today?
I thought I might mention on the trails, specifically the Will Rogers Trail, which is just snaking its way down the middle of our city. We've got a lot of neighbors that are really happy about that trail. So good news. Even though you might be tearing up their backyard, they understand and they're excited. So look forward to seeing an update on that trail. And then, of course, you're seeing sidewalks everywhere.
I might mention from the Convention Center Subcommittee, I know that most of you will have read that the council has now approved the proposal for the Convention Center Hotel, which is an important piece of the planning for the Convention Center. And so that's a real step forward in us achieving our overall goals here. And we'll be expecting to see in the near future, probably in the fourth quarter, you suppose, David, the Convention Center plan?
Yes, sir.
And so we'll have an opportunity early in 2018 to be reviewing that. So that'll be a next big step, getting that out for bids, which is kind of the final big project that we have to bid. So I'm just pleased to report that all of that seems to be going well. And I think David told me that staff has been meeting with Populous and looking at periodic costs that are involved as we move through the project, and we're up to 65 or 70%, and so far so good.
Yes, sir.
So I really congratulate ADG and David and his staff for keeping track of that as we go through this, rather than waiting until we open a bid one day and find out we've got to think about this more. So I really commend the way the planning is going on this, and I frankly don't expect any big surprises, and I think it's on track. And that's kind of the last big piece to be bid. So that's all encouraging, and I hope it will be to you. Okay, anybody else? That brings us to item 18, informational items. They are listed in there, and there are a good number of them. David will be glad to answer any questions, and I'm going to offer him the chance to highlight any he wants to highlight.
Well, there are easements, there are lease agreements for some property in the park, the lower park that we have purchased, but we're leasing back to the operators there, payment for some land for streetcar, and then easements for sidewalks, and an agreement with AT&T, and that had to do with the streetcar utility relocations.
Anybody have any questions? Michael Adams, you want to ask Carol your question about where the lease payment goes? Maybe she can tell us.
No big deal about it. I guess we're leasing back to operators or tenants some of the property we acquired, and I assume those lease monies come back into the MAPS funds. Is that correct? Okay.
Good. All right. Any other questions about any of the informational items? Okay, well then, let's move to item 19. David, any additional items for your update?
Well, briefly, I just want to mention, you saw change orders on the wellness centers. The changes on the gym is underway, and wellness number 2, as we discussed, is going well. And then negotiations and identification of a location for wellness center 3 is underway. As you saw, Trails and Sidewalks is very busy right now with the Will Rogers Trail. The Draper Trail is in design. We have sidewalks ongoing and underway also. And as you mentioned, Convention Center continues with their design. Demolition is almost complete of the entire site down there. If you go down there, you'll see that. Park, the construction has begun, as we all know, and if you go down there, you'll see a sizable hole right now where the lake is going. So they have moved a lot of dirt already in a month.
I was driving down, I couldn't see a hole, but I could see a mound.
Yeah, if you go over to 7th as if you're going to Union Station, you can see the hole, and the trucks are completely down in the hole. It's about 12 feet deep.
Coming out of the hole, but all I could see was the hill.
Right, so they've moved a lot of dirt.
I received
David,
a
let me interrupt.
photograph
Kim?
yesterday. I received a photograph yesterday from Hargraves and Associates, and Gavin was standing in the hole and said, "I expect to strike oil any minute."
And then you saw all the things going on with the streetcar. As I mentioned, the rails are going well, and the maintenance facility is coming along. So lots of stuff going on, as you said.
I would just add to that, David, that we had a presentation too on the cars. 2 cars are nearly complete. One's getting ready to be painted, and that we will begin to receive those cars in October.
Yes.
First one.
Oh, great. Thank you. Kim, I want to give you a chance. We were very near the end of the agenda. We just have offered a chance to talk for any of the subcommittees. Any comments from the Park Subcommittee?
Well, of course, we just want to thank all the citizens who participated in the Name the Park contest, which led to an amazing groundbreaking on the 29th of June for Scissortail Park. So we were honored after 7 years to arrive at that point. Actually, 9 years for Hargraves when you talk about everything. But it's certainly the culmination of the work of all of our program manager, ADG, the MAPS 3 staff, everyone on this board, all the volunteers. And it was so great to see all the children from the YMCA there, because really that's the generation we're building this for, and the next generation. So it was a great day for Oklahoma City and for Oklahoma.
Thank you. Any other comments from board members? I want to just briefly say this. Michael and David had a discussion before the meeting relative to where we were on collecting the money. And it looks like that sometime in the next month or 2, we will hit the original projection of $777 million. And that'll be a real benchmark day for us, that we will have achieved what the projections were for the money to do the project, and we'll still have a few months left to collect. And so the biggest risk that we had in MAPS 3 was that we wouldn't collect the money, and the fact is it looks like that's going to happen ahead of projections, and that's a real positive thing, I think, for all of us. I also want to just take a moment to say thank you to all of you. It's really remarkable that as we start our 8th year, that we've had a quorum. People are busy. Many of you have jobs. You have other obligations and travel in the summer, and there are many conflicts that require people who are volunteers to go on with their life. But I want to compliment you as we now start our 8th year, that we have had a quorum at every meeting of this board, and I'm very appreciative of the commitment and the dedication that each of you have shown, and for that I say thank you. Any other comments? Bob?
Just one comment about earlier comments about the signs of progress. As one who works downtown, I see it on a daily basis. Getting from point A to point B is very difficult with Project 180 and laying the track for the streetcar. It's a challenge daily to find your way from I-40 to downtown to an office because of all the activity that's going on. While frustrating, it is very encouraging that all of this is happening and happening quickly.
Good point. Anybody else?
Yes, I'd
Shane?
just like to add to that, I think ADG and some of the team deserves a big round of accomplishment for, during the concerts. I guess they expected to have some real negative feedback, but there was not any negative feedback from construction. They did a fabulous job coordinating with the city and the police, and everybody involved. And it's a pretty big accomplishment.
I tell you who deserves a lot of that accolades is Herzog Stacy Whitbeck for working with us and understanding what had to be done and their willingness to move to other areas and work. They've been very good to work with, so they deserve a lot of that.
Good points. Anybody else? All right then. Any other comments from staff? Carol, we okay? Okay. This is also the opportunity, any citizens that are here that want to make comments, or those are invited at this time. Seeing none, Michael Adams has made a motion that we adjourn. It's been seconded by Kim Lowe. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. We are adjourned.